Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro continues his official visit to Saudi Arabia amid the strengthening bilateral ties between the two countries. In Ecuador, heavy rains and flooding have affected some 1,600 families in the province of Esmeralda. Actions to provide material assistance to victims are ongoing. A 3-year-old Palestinian boy died in a hospital 4 days after he was shot in the head by Israeli soldiers while riding in a car with his father in the occupied West Bank. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Ana Marrero from the teleSUR headquarters in Caracas, Venezuela. We begin with the news. Stay with us. On Sunday, Venezuelan President arrived in Saudi Arabia on an official visit to strengthen bilateral ties between the two countries. In this third visit of President Maduro to Saudi Arabia, he is expected to meet with King Salman bin Abdulaziz, custodian of a holy place, the Great of Al-Hama in Mecca and the Prophet Mosque in Medina. He will also have a working meeting with the Prime Minister of that nation, Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The relations between Venezuela and Saudi Arabia began in 1952 and were strengthened first with the arrival of Commander Hugo Chavez and now with the presidency of Nicolas Maduro. Let us remember that relations between Venezuela and Saudi Arabia trace back to the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, which both nations joined up September the 14th in the 60s. In this sense, the first step towards close relations came in the late 70s. However, it was not until President Hugo Chavez came to power that bilateral ties began paving the way for a new stage of cooperation, broader and solidarity beyond oil, always based on diversity and mutual respect. Mexico's most populous states turned it back on decades of single-party rule, deciding to move forward with President Andrés Manuel López Obrador's ruling Morena Party over the Institutional Revolutionary Party. According to the National Electoral Institute, candidate Delfina Gómez of the Morena Party won between 52.1% and 54.2% in the ballots in the state of Mexico, compared with 43% to 45.2% for Alejandra del Moral, representing the opposition coalition. In this sense, the Electoral Commission reported the turnout for these elections was between 48.7% and 50.2% of eligible states voters.
It has been 100 long years of corruption and neglect. The times change and the people have organized and won. I'm full of joy and emotion because a new history of love and respect is going to be written in our state of Mexico. A new history of vocation and support for those who have less. A government that understands that for the good of all, the poor must come first. A new way of governing, a government of the people and for the people, and a different kind of public servant.
On the other hand, the alliance led by the Institutional Revolutionary Party in the PRI with the gubernatorial candidate Manuel Jimenez won in the state of Coahuila. The candidate of the coalition formed by the Institutional Revolutionary Party, the National Action Party, and Party of the Democratic Revolution obtained more than 55% of the vote and defeated Armando Mariana, the representative of Morena. In general terms, the election date in both states went without incidents, although with delays in the installations and opening of some polling stations, long lines, and other minor incidents. In Ecuador, heavy rains and floodings have affected some 1,600 families in the province of Esmeraldas. Actions to provide material assistance to the victims are ongoing. On Sunday, after 12 hours of non-stop rain, 6 rivers overflowed and entire neighborhoods were flooded. The military rescued 530 people with boats and helicopters. Ecuadorian President Guillermo Lasso tweeted that public institutions are working to save lives. The Ministry of Education called off its in-person classes in 3 municipalities, and the Secretary of Risk Management said the armed forces, the national police, and the international risk system are coordinating the evacuation of the affected population. During the current winter raining season in Ecuador, over 30 people have died, and there have been road damages, mudslides, and thousands of square hectares ruined. At least 50 people died and another 8 are missing after the heavy rains unleashed widespread floodings and several landslides across Haiti over the weekend. According to the country's Civil Protection Agency, over 13,000 people were forced to evacuate as the water consumed hundreds of homes, turning some streets into raging rivers. Meanwhile, more than 7,000 families reported damage, with officials still assessing the impact of rains that delugged the Caribbean nation on Saturday. The downpours also caused significant damage to crops in the country's central region at the time when starvation is deepening. Let's take a very short break now, but remember you can now follow us on our TikTok account teleSUR English, in which you will be able to see news in different formats, news updates, and more. Stay tuned for more news. Welcome back to From the South. United Kingdom's Premier Rishi Sunak confirmed on Monday that his administration acquired 2 more baggage to house asylum seekers as part of its alleged efforts to reduce channel crossing. Speaking from Canada, the UK, the Premier added that in order to reduce pressures on local communities, asylum seekers will also be allocated on ships. The measures was met with a furious reaction from local charities and members of parliaments and social organizations who condemned the expansion of the plan and urged the government to concentrate on reducing the asylum seekers' backlog rather than imprison them. According to Home Office figures, more than 45,000 people crossed the channel in 2022, the highest number since figures began to be collected in 2018.
I know these are tough measures, and I make no apology for that. We cannot allow our generosity of spirit to be used as a weapon against us, or against those who are being pushed to risk their lives in the channel by criminal gangs. Our approach is working. For the first time, crossings are down by 20%.
Over 140 asylum seekers were saved by Spanish rescuers on the perilous seaborne route from Africa to the Canary Islands. According to the emergency services from the Canary Islands, the group came from sub-Saharan Africa and Northern Africa on board of 2 boats intercepted in Ursula in the island of Lanzarote. Upon arrival, the asylum seekers were taken to Recife and assisted by the Red Cross members who provide them with medical care. In this sense, the country's Interior Ministry stated that so far in 2023, more than 8,000 people entering Spain, at a decline of 46.7% compared to the same period in 2022. The The Russian government confirmed on Monday its forces throughout a major Ukrainian offensive in the Donetsk regions, destroying tanks and armored vehicles. According to the Russian Defense Ministry, Kiev launched a large-scale offensive in 50 sectors in South Donetsk, using 6 mechanized and 2 tank battalions. The ministry further added that more than 200 Ukrainian troops have been killed and 16 tanks, 3 infantry fighting vehicles and 21 armored personnel carriers destroyed. In this sense, the Russian government named the Ukrainian units involved in the attack as the 23rd and 31st Mechanized Brigade. teleSUR English continues to grow. You can now tune in from 33 different African countries through StarSat. Dial 461 and join our Latin American alternative broadcast. One financial break and we'll be right back. Welcome back. Passengers trains resume operations on Monday in the Odisha's Balasore district in India after a triple train collision that left more than 200 people dead and over a dozen injured. In this sense, Railway Ministries added that both lines were tested before the services resumed. Likewise, the ministry revealed that the accident occurred due to changing electricity interlocking. Triple train accident involved the Bengaluru-Horwal Superfast Express, the Coromandel Express, and the good trains on the 3 separate tracks at Bahagan Basar Station in the Belarus district. On Monday, U.S. Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin arrived in India for talks with his Indian counterpart, Ranak's side. Austin was greeted with an honor guard ceremony before the heading to meet with Said, who is India's Minister of Defense. Austin was in Singapore on Sunday and will meet with Said regarding information sharing, maritime security, and strengthening shared security in the long term. According to the Indian military body, the presence of the U.S. Defense Secretary on his second visit to the Asian country comes 2 weeks before the Prime Minister Narendra Modi's planned trip to Washington. India is considering the manufacture of jet engines as part of technology transfer to boost its fighter jets. Iraqi Foreign Minister Fawaz Hussein signed on Monday a memorandum of understanding with his Pakistani counterpart in Baghdad to facilitate security, defense, and tourism cooperation between the two countries.
We discussed cooperation in military and security areas. Pakistan is a strong country and has a strong military industry, and there is a joint work between the Iraqi Ministry of Defense and the defense and security authorities in Pakistan.
I'm very happy to know that both countries have agreed to open a Pakistani consulate in Najaf. We have discussed the MOU on Zairene hospitality, and inshallah, that process will be reaching a conclusion soon. I also want to announce the establishment of a Pakistani Pilgrim Center in Karbala, inshallah, which will be operationalized soon and benefit the Zairene.
In northern Afghanistan, nearly 80 girls were poisoned and hospitalized in 2 separate attacks on their primary schools, a local education official said on Sunday. It is believed to be the first such attack since the Taliban came to power in August 2021 and began its offensive against the rights and freedoms of Afghan women and girls. Girls are barred from education beyond the 6th grade, including university, and women are barred of most jobs and public spaces. The attacks took place in the Sahel province on Saturday and Sunday. According to Mohamed Rahmani, director of the Provincial Education Department, 60 students were poisoned at Naswat Edkobo Abba School and another 17 at Nasab Ed Baisab School. The department's investigations is ongoing, and initial inquiry shows that someone paid a third party to carry out the attack. A 3-year-old boy, Palestinian boy, that died in hospital 4 days after he was shot in the head by Israeli soldiers while riding in a car with his father in the occupied West Bank. Mohammed al-Tamimi was airlifted to the Sheba hospital near Tel Aviv after the incident on Thursday night and remained in a critical condition until medical officials announced his death on Monday. His father, Haitham al-Tamimi, is still being treated at a Palestinian hospital with no life-threatening injuries. Meanwhile, the Palestinian Foreign Ministry strongly condemned the killing of Tamimi as an heinous crime against humanity and demanded an urgent international investigation into this crime and other crimes of killing Palestinian children. On Monday, Palestinian authorities denounced a new Israeli plan to expand illegal settlements in the West Bank. According to the governor of the Palestinian city of Salfid, Abdullah Kamil, the new plan of Israeli occupied is to seize more than 1,000 hectares of Palestinian agricultural lands in the West Bank in order to boost ethnic cleansing and expand illegal Jewish settlements as well as turn them into industrial centers, tourist centers, and roads linked to Jewish settlements. Kamil denounced Israeli measures as a flagrant violation of international law and international resolutions and called on the Palestinians to denounce Israel's plan before the relevant institution to prevent the expropriation of their land by the Tel Aviv regime. We have come to the end of this news brief, but you can find this and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on our socials. We're on Facebook, Twitter, and on Instagram as well. For Telesur English, I'm from the South, I'm Ana Marrero, and thank you for watching.